Are we recording now? I see that there is a little button. Okay. But we do a little bit of transformation, which is 1 minus, because here the probability is larger than k, and p1 is u smaller than k, 0.1, and you get 1.28, which is k. We can do this in Excel with like a formula, but I'm going to show you later how that there's a lot of ways you can do it. You can go online and use a Z-value calculator, or what I'm using is Python. So I'm going to show you later how to do it. And B, repeat for P. This one should be trivial as well. You can just calculate again or go to the chart again and see the different values of K, which result in different values of safety factors, safety stocks and reorder point. Prepare a rough sketch of safety stock versus P1. It's shown here, and as you can see, it's not linear because the closer you are, because that this is because of what normal distribution looks like. For larger values of K, for larger values of safety factor, the effect is decreasing. So the closer you are to the service level of 1, the effect of safety factors are decreasing, as you can see. We are increasing the safety stock significantly, but the service levels, the effect of increasing that is diminishing. So 1 and 6.2. So A, we can just, because we are assuming that these are the only values that the demand can take, and each with 0.1 probability. So we can just calculate the mean, which will be, we are the possibility of shortage. So our reorder point is 51. So just to give an example, for example, in period 1, we will be having a shortage because we are reordering at 51. So the demand during the lead time in the first period is 64, which means that there will be a 13 shortage in our first lead time. But we don't have that problem in the second lead time, which we are reordering at 51. And the demand during the lead time is also 51, so we're just about that. And we do the same, and you can see that there are 3 values, which is larger than 51, which is 64, 93, and 57. And the shortage individually is 17, 42, and 6. So you can do this in Excel, which you can give a little function which is like this row, C minus. You can just plot give a simple function to calculate the shortage, and then you'll see that there will be 3 shortages. And because each within probability of 10%, the average shortage will be 13 times 10% plus 42 times 10% plus 6 times 10%, which is, I think, our next question. Yeah, the expected shortage. And that will be calculated by each of the shortage multiplied by their probability. Yeah, you can also use a function in Excel to calculate the average shortage rate is 6.1. And C, we want the average shortage to be no larger than 5 units. Well, because here we can assume that we can only order 1 unit at a time, which means we cannot order 0.5 decimal points of units. Then you'll see that, first of all, it's clear that we should be increasing the reorder points to avoid shortage, right? And we can try to increase from 51 to 52, and you'll see that the shortage in this period will be 12, and this period will be 41, and this will be 5. And you see that the shortage in each shortage period, in each of the 3 possible shortage periods, are decreasing by 1. So we know that increasing the reorder points of 1 will decrease the shortage by 3. And we know that the total shortage is 51. So it'll be quite clear that we should at least increase 4 points of the reorder points, which is here you can also use Excel. You see that increasing from 51 to 52, and all of the shortages are decreasing by 1. So as I said, there are like the number we want is 5, and the difference is 1.1. And as I said, increasing the reorder point of 1 will result in a 0.3 decrease in the expected shortage. So it's quite clear that we should increase 4 points in reorder point. It's difficult to hear you. Is this better? So is it better when I'm closer to the computer? Is this better? I just removed the helmet, sorry, headset. Is this better? Okay. Let me keep going. Feel free to unmute your mic and just like talk, because this is not really a class. This is a session, and it's for you, so you can just speak whatever you want. Is this clear? All of the 6.1 and 2. 6.1 and 2 are the most basic ones. It's a simple calculation. And then 6.3. So first, to calculate the economic quantity, we can just use the formula directly. But there's a little twist here, because as you can see, the numbers given is quite loud. I don't have a better mic. Sorry for that. Yeah, we'll have to make do with it. As you can see, there's a little bit, because the numbers given are D times multiplied by D, and it's $4,000, because Usually what we are given is rand, and it should be in the units of dollars per unit. But here it's multiplied by the unit value, and it's the same with sigma. And it's also the same in our economic order quantity, which usually should be in units. But here, it wants us to get in dollars. So there are two ways you can do this. First, you can just assume that uh, the unit V, you can just assume that V is 1. You just assume that the unit price is 1. And then you can get the demand, which is 4,000, and sigma is 100. And also you can just prove, or you can just do it the hard way, which is as you can see here, because he wants the economic order quantity as in dollars, which means our Q times the unit value. And our formula for economic order quantity is this square root of 280 divided by VR and multiplied by V. You can just move the V in the upper end, and then you see this nicely DV is actually given, and A and R is also given. So yeah, but you can just go ahead and assume the unit value is 1, and your life will be much easier. So here's the value. This one is quite trivial as well. Number 2, K using the B1 criteria. Here, I'm not sure. So B1 is the penalty for each of the shortage that is happening. I'm not sure this is covered in our past, like PowerPoint and stuff, but I went to the book and then there's a section, and I think they are like the PowerPoints are pointing to the book as well. So you can just check the book, the formula, and then you'll see that the procedure is here as follows. In fact, if this value is larger than 1, or if you check if it's less than 1, if not, then you can just use this formula and you get K, which is 1.56. I'm doing it in Python, and I'm going to show you how I did it. So here you can see that you can just give all the values that are given. And here, as you can see, I'm assuming the unit price is 1, which actually doesn't matter, but it'll make it life easier. And this is our first question Q. Oh, well, if we're assuming then you get the value of economic order quantity. And here, yes, I know there's a machine noise because I can hear it as well. It's from my computer, of course. I'm not sure because there's just it's also on its learning that there's a new training tool that I can use for classroom and stuff. I, I contact the school, but I haven't got any reply yet. So yeah, but I'll try to borrow a mic if possible next time. Yeah, I forgot where I left. But here you can just, because we have assigned all values and we have the formula, and then you can just go ahead first calculate this number and just see that it's 3.38, which is larger than 1. And then we can just go ahead and use the formula for k. And we get k is 1.56. Number 3, safety stock in dollars. This should be easy because safety stock, as we know, the formula is k multiplied by sigma. And sigma is given. K, we just calculated that. So we can multiply by 100, which is 156. This would be trivial. And also annual cost of carrying the safety stock. This one should be trivial as well because we know the safety stock, and we know that in theory, the safety stock on average will not be consumed. And so they will always be in inventory. So we can just calculate the cost of carrying safety stock by multiply the safety stock in dollars with the unit price. Sorry, this R is the cost of carrying it annually. So we can just multiply 156 by 0.1 you get 15.6. Number 5, total average stock in dollars. Sorry. So here you see safety stock is K multiplied by the demand, sorry, the sigma, the standard deviation of demand during lead time, which is 100, which is K, we got 1.56 here. And you multiply it by sigma, which is 100, you get 156. And the cost of carrying safety stock, as we discussed, the safety stock will not be, on average, will not be consumed. So all of them will be like in stock all the time during a year. So you just multiply it by R, and it'll be 15.6. Number 5, total average stock. The formula is Q divided by 2 plus the safety stock. And this is easy to comprehend because, as we discussed, safety stock on average will not be consumed. So they will always be on stock. And also Q, I think this is discussed in, this is fully discussed in Uplus courses. So you plug the number in and you get 862. Yep, I will upload all of the materials after the session. Number 6, expected number of stock out occasions per year. So expected number of stock out occasions per year. First of all, we need to calculate the reorder occasions because I'm not sure how I'm able to explain this, or you can just use the formula instead. But the idea behind the formula is the total amount of reorder occasions multiplied by the possibility of stock out during one order point, and then we get the expected number of stock out occasions per year. And the reorder occasions is calculated by D divided by Q. And Q is 4,000, Q is 14. So it's kind of like we are reordering 3 times per year. You can go ahead and imagine that we are reordering 3 times per year. And then now if we have the possibility of a stock out happening during a reorder point, then we get the expected number. And that possibility is actually calculated by the K, which is because here the possibility is P, which is larger than K, and you can either use the Z-medal table, or what I'm doing here is, so I import SciPy using the stats library, and then you can just use this piece of code to calculate the possibility. CDF is the cumulative density function, and you put the K value in, but here we need to 1 minus because this is the possibility that U is smaller than K, so the left side. And what we want is the right side, because stock out means that the actual demand is higher than our safety stock, which means U is larger than K. And this is U is smaller than K because that is how cumulative density function is defined. Cumulative distribution function is defined. And so you 1 minus, and you see that the possibility is like 6%. And kind of like if there are 100 reorder occasions, then there will be 6 stock outs. And also we discussed that D divided by Q is the reorder occasions per year. So we multiply that possibility with the total amount of occasions, then we get expected stock out occasions per year, which is roughly 0.17. And 7, expected stock out costs per year. As we discussed, we are using the B1 criterion, which is there will be a penalty cost associated with each stock out occasions. And in 6, we calculated the expected number of stock out occasions per year. So we can just go ahead and multiply that number with B1, and we get the expected stock out costs per year. So you just use the expected stock out occasions multiplied by B1. And you get 5.02. Is this clear? Six 6.4. So you notice that we're using this TBS, which possibly could be what is it? Something like the average time between stock outs. I'm not sure what T means, but B means between stock out, S means stock out. Average. Let me check. Time. T is time. As you can see, average time between stock out occasions. Yes, we're using this, so I would recommend you go to the book and check the formulas for that, and which is shown here. So you check if this number is larger than 1. If not, go ahead and use this to calculate the K, and then we're good. I'm going to show you how I did that in Python. The same, we use these two libraries, and then we give all the values that are given. So as we discussed, the first A is compute the reorder quantity. Reorder quantity, which is exactly economic order quantity. Oh yeah, because we are using the policy using the EOQ. So that is the same formula as we discussed before. So it's square root of 2AD divided by DR, and we have all the values, so we can just get the number. This one is trivial. B, compute the safety factor, safety stock, and reorder point. These are all actually the same thing. Once we have K, which is safety factor, we will have everything. So the key point is to find K. And as we discussed here, we can calculate the probability of U larger than K. And we can use that to locate our K. So first we just square root of 2AD divided by DR, we get Q. And Q is 395. And here, first of all, we calculate the demand in the time between stock out, which is suggested by the formula, which is calculated by TBS. TBS is in months, and there are 12 months per year. So it's kind of like a half of the demand. So the demand during the time between stockouts is a half of the demand. So it's 6 divided by 12 multiplied by D. Once we have that, we use Q divided by that D, and we check if it's larger than 1, and it's not. So we can just use the formula. And here we're using the PPF, which is the inverse function of CDF. So the number we're giving in, the number we're inputting is the probability that U is smaller than K. Notice that its U is smaller than K, which is a bit different than what the formula is suggested. Here, with this, so Q divided by D is the probability that U is larger than K, which is the right side, which is the stock out probability. But to use this function, we need to provide the left hand side, and we can just calculate that by 1 minus, and you put that in, you will get the K, and you'll see that K is 0.85. So yeah, and we have our safety factor, which is 0.85. And then the calculation of safety stock and reorder point are trivial, because then safety stock is just K multiplied by sigma, and reorder point is safety stock plus the average demand during lead time. And as provided, the lead time is 1 month, and so the average demand during lead time is 1 divided by 12, which is 1/12 of the total demand. And these numbers are all given, so you can calculate that, and you get 418. I'm gonna skip this one because I didn't do it. And oh, and also I want to tell you that like this exercise, these 6 exercises are, well, first of all, they will not be appear that this kind of questions will not be appearing in the final exam. And these exercises are just for us to better understand. They are the stepping stones for us to understand better later, because there are all these notations, and by doing these exercises, we are better equipped with the tools that we are going to use later. But they will not be appearing in the final exam, so that's for sure. The key point is to learn from these exercises, not to get the exact same numbers. And 6.5, A, estimate the mean and standard deviation. And I'm also using Python for that. So I import these 2 libraries. I'm going to talk about this later. So you can just type the numbers in as a list, and as you know, there's a like a numpy. You can get the mean, and STD, standard deviation, and get the standard deviation. So you can calculate that and get the estimated mean and standard deviation. And use these values to establish the reorder point of a continuously real item with these values. So it's the same. We put all the values in that are given, and notice that we are using B2 value here, and I'm not sure what B2 is. I think B2 is per B1 is per stock out occasion, and B2 I think is per stock out amount. Yeah, specified fractional charge per unit short. The B2 is associated with per unit short. It's associated with per shortage. And here we have the value of 0.3, which means for each $10 of demand that is not satisfied, there are 30%. There will be $3 of penalty, which is the stock out cost. And also, because we're using the B2 value, we can just go ahead and use the formula in the book in the book of that session, and we can just check. This is the rule for establishing a safety stock, and we get this value. So something like this, we check if it's larger than 1. If not, we can just use this to calculate K. So it's kind of like the same with what we did before. We use the SciPy stats .norm.ppf. ppf is the inverse function of CPF, and then also the values we're giving in is 1 minus indicated by the function QR divided by dB2, because it's also the same as we discussed. The value we're inputting should be in the left hand side, but QR divided by dB2 is, as you can see here, it's the probability that U is larger than the right hand side. So we do 1 minus transformation and we put that value in, and then we get our K. And the K is 1.02. And with that K, because this is not what we should be calculating, but this is not what we want. What we want is reorder point, but that should be trivial. Now that we have K, yeah, so this is the mean deviation. We check if it's less, if it's larger than 1, it's not. So we can just use this formula. We get K is 1.02, and then reorder point is a safety stock plus the average demand during mean time, and these are all calculated because the mean here, the mean we're using here is the estimated one, which is 98.5, and sigma is also, we're using 27.55, and K is calculated, and then we get this value of the safety stock of the reorder point. You can round this number up to 127 by arguing that you cannot order decimal points of units. In actual fact, the mean is 100 and standard deviation is 30. With these two values, what is the appropriate value of the reorder point? So this part of the question should be trivial because K is, because you see that Q is the same, R is the same, D is the same, and D is the same. So everything is the same, which means K will stay 1.02. And the only difference here is the average demand during lead time and the standard deviation of demand during lead time. Because before we were using the estimated value, 98.5, 27. Here we are using 100 plus 1.02 multiplied by 30. And rounding it up, we get 131. Here, as the reorder point is sigma times this is the mean, but the lead time is 1 month. I forgot that. So you multiply that by 1, and that is the average demand during lead time, because the lead time is 1 month. And the main demand during 1 month is K multiplied by sigma, and we get 127. And B, we're using these two values. So, but K is the same, so we calculate that again, and we get 131. But then what is the percentage cost penalty associated with using the result of part 6.58 instead? So this means that now we know that the actual mean is 100 and the actual standard deviation is 30. What if we still use the reorder point that we calculated from A, which is 127 instead? So this is important because you need to establish the values for these parameters. So here Q is the same, Q, V, R, D are the same. and we're using the actual mean and actual standard deviation, and we're using S, which is 127, which is calculated from A, and then we calculate the total cost associated with that, and that'll be like the penalty cost, and then we calculate the actual total cost, which is everything else stay the same, but we use 131 instead. And also the total cost formula is given here. This is the cost of this is the reordering cost, because A is per order, and this part is the inventory cost, because this is the average inventory, and this is the penalty cost, because it's per unit short, and this is calculating the unit short and multiplied by B2. You can just go ahead and use that formula. So notice that here we are using the loss function of the standard normal distribution. But once you have K, it should be good. You can do that by either using the chart of the loss function of normal distribution, standard normal distribution, or what I'm doing here is I define the loss function of standard normal distribution, and I calculate that by hand, or not by hand, but by using this defined function. Yeah. But this is absolutely not required. I just don't like. It's the same with the Z value. I don't like the charts and see it in bare eyes, and it's time-consuming. I prefer to calculate that. But it's the same process. You should be getting the same value. And yeah. And once you have the total cost associated with using 127 and total cost associated with using 131, then you can calculate the percentage cost penalty by using the estimated cost minus the actual cost divided by total cost, and the cost of using estimated value is this, and the cost of using true value is a little bit lower. So the percentage penalty cost is roughly 0.06%. This is really trivial, and that is why this question is not very well formulated. And we can, what I suggest you to do is, if you are struggling with this percentage cost penalty part, you can ignore it and just calculate the value of the appropriate value of the order point using the true mean and standard deviation, and you're good. This part is absolutely not required. 6.6. So here we have two situations. One is the current situation. The current purchase price is 0.8 plus 0.2, which is $1 per unit. This is the current purchase price, and the lead time is 4 weeks. This is the current lead time, and the company the supplier is offering us a new plan, which is the lead time will be 1 week, but the price will be $1.05 per unit. And we want to decide if we should accept this decision, which is basically just calculate the cost associated with both the current situation and the offered situation, and see if the offer is decreasing our total cost. If it is, then we should accept the offer. We first qualitatively discuss the trade-off in the decision. So notice that there's a trade-off on the one hand, on the other hand. So it's, as we can see, assume that the sigma is sigma 1 multiplied by t to the power of a half. That means the shorter our t is, the smaller our sigma is, right? If say our t is 4, which is in our case, and our sigma, our standard deviation is 2 times sigma 1. 4 to the power of a half is 2. And then the offered situation, which is t is 1, and you see that the standard deviation is just sigma 1, which is a half of the previous one. And you can also just ignore it and just think intuitively, because before the lead time is 4 weeks, and now the lead time is 1 week. So there are less uncertainties, right? The shorter the time is, the smaller the uncertainty. So the uncertainty is smaller, which intuitively means a smaller safety stock. And a smaller safety stock would result in a smaller safety stock cost. So this is on the one hand, the offered situation has a lower safety stock cost, but on the other hand, as we notice, there's also a purchase cost, because the demand is 1,000, which means, like, either way we need to purchase 1,000 units per year, but there's an increase of the selling price associated with the offer. So the purchase cost will be higher. So this is the trade-off. We're getting a lower safety stock cost, but a higher purchase cost. So we just want to, and then B is quantitatively assess the offer, which means we are just calculating if the decreasing of the cost is higher or the increasing of the cost is higher. And I also did that in Python, which we can ignore it for now, but we use these libraries. And there's one important message here, which is this company established safety stocks to provide a fraction of demand. So it's quite important. We are providing a fraction of demand satisfied directly from stock at a level of 0.94. So this 0.94 is P2 that we define, because P1 is P1, what is it? The probability of stock out, sorry, it's not probability that we are satisfying the demand per order occasion. So it's like, I think you can just go to the PowerPoint for that, but P1 is defined differently, and P2 is defined of the total demand that we are satisfying, which is exactly what it's saying here, the fraction of demand satisfying. So this 0.94 is P2. And for that, we can just go ahead and check the formula for P2. Here, and you'll see that we're using this formula here. We have our P2, we have our Q, we have our sigma, and then we get the value of our loss function. And with this, we can do the inverse, either by checking the table or what I was doing in Python, and then we get our K value. Once we get our K value, everything is set because K is everything. In K, we have safety stock, we have the reorder point, and then we have the cost associated, and then we have everything. Here, this is our common value, P2, demand, economic policy, what is it, the inventory carrying cost. And this is the current setup, which is the lead time is 4 weeks. The unit price is $1 per unit, and sigma is 100 as provided here. Sigma 4 is 100, where sigma 4 is the standard deviation of focus hours over the current lead time of 4 weeks. And our sigma is 100. And as we discussed, this is our formula. G is this value. And this, like I said, you can also check the chart by looking at the values within the cells and then go back to the K value. But what I'm doing here is looking, this is an approximation for the inverse function of standard loss, for this inverse standard loss function. So you put the value of the loss function in, and you get K. Actually, it's that in statistics. And here I get our G, which is provided by the loss function, the value of the loss function, which is provided by the equation here. We have our value for the loss function, and then we just do the inverse, and then we get K. And you see that K is 0.8. So this is our K, and with K, we can just calculate the total cost. So the total cost is 2 parts here. First of all, there is no cost associated with per reorder. There's no A here, and there's also no B here, which is the penalty, the cost penalty associated with stock out. But there's a new cost, which is the purchase cost, which we usually ignored in the economic order quantity calculation. But here we're calculating it because, yeah. And so the cost we have is 2 parts.
Sorry?
Yeah.
If I assume that there is a fixed cost, regardless of the price changes, there's still A, and then the reorder cost is just the same, the 2K. Is there anything wrong with that?
Yeah, there's nothing wrong. The cost stays the same in the two situations.
Yeah, because normally I think what we have been doing here is that A is fixed, and it is regardless of the quantity or the unit price of the product.
Yeah. Yep, that is calculated by D divided by Q multiplied by A, and B and Q will be the same in the two situations, and A stays the same in the two situations. So the reorder cost will stay the same in the two situations. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I can't do that because I'm using Python. So if I don't have an a value, I'll get an error, or I can assume some a value associated with that.
Yeah.
A equals 1, but then I'm calculating the total cost. So yeah, you can do that, or you can ignore that.
Yeah, because if the reorder cost is the same for the two cases, then everything just depends on the inventory holding cost. But
And the purchase cost.
if you use the unit cost to calculate the reorder cost, then the result might be different because in case 2, the unit cost is higher.
Sorry, can you say that again? If I'm using
The unit cost to calculate the reorder cost.
why would I use the unit cost to calculate the reorder cost?
I see in your Python code. Isn't that true? Can you reopen it again?
Nope, that is not what I'm doing.
Uh-huh.
Which part do you mean?
Uh, I see that for TC1 and TC2, you plus V1 multiple by D and also V2 multiple by D. What is that part?
That is, as we discussed, there are two parts of the total cost. The first part is the inventory cost, and the second part is the purchase cost.
Okay.
This is not the reorder cost.
Uh-huh.
Reorder cost is associated with D divided by Q, which
Yeah.
is per order. But
Okay.
here I'm multiplying with D, which is the total demand, because you need to satisfy the demand, so you have to purchase it in the first place, right?
Mhm.
And there's a purchase price associated with that. You need to buy those products in order to sell them.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
normally we do not consider the price of the product.
Yep. I mean,
Okay.
usually this is not included in the formula because usually we are calculating the stock out cost, which is the substitute of this part, because usually the price is not changing, right? But here we have two different prices. And that's the only reason we are calculating it.
Okay. Okay. I see. Thank you.
Usually that part of the cost is ignored because it stays the same. And we can also argue that this part, Q divided by 2, a half of the cube, we can argue that you can just calculate the cost of the safety stock instead, because here, as you can see, this part is also staying the same because the Q is not changing. So this part of the inventory is the same in the two situations. You can argue that
No, but in that case, V1 and V2 are different. So I think there should be Q divided by 2 in there.
Yep. True. So we need to, but the reason that we are including this is because we have two different prices in the two occasions. So we need to assess that part of the cost as well. It is important
Okay.
because in the first part, as we were discussing the trade-off in the decision, and as we discussed, the trade-off is we have a lower inventory cost resulting from a smaller safety stock, but but there is also a trade-off in the cost part as well. There is a smaller inventory amount, but because the price of the unit is higher, so it could potentially there is a trade-off in that part of the cost inside of that part of the cost as well. We have a smaller amount of stock, but the price is higher, which means and there is also 20% of the carrying charge. So the inventory cost per unit is higher. So there is a trade-off in that in the inventory cost alone. But there's also a larger trade-off, which I'm not sure it's a trade-off anymore because we don't know if the inventory cost will be smaller. But Yeah, but this is a badly formulated. You can just imagine that this is a badly formulated question and discuss all of the possible changes in the future expression. Is that part clear? Because I said that because this part, which is the average stock, will be smaller, will be offer, but because our price is higher, our V is higher, so this part is higher, and we are multiplying these two together. So there is a trade-off in this alone, right? The left-hand side is smaller, but the right-hand side is larger, and the result of the multiplication could be, who knows. But the purchase cost is higher as well. But then that is just a qualitative part. In quantitative part, we don't have that problem because we have all the values and we can calculate them. And new lead time is one week. Our new value unit price is 1.05, and our new sigma, because we have the sigma, the formulation of our sigma, which is given here. It's associated with the square root of t. So when t is 4, it's 2 times sigma 1. And when t is 1 week, then it's just sigma 1, which is the half of sigma 4. So our new sigma, our new standard deviation in the lead time of 1 week is 50. And with that, we have our sigma 2, then it's actually 50. And we can calculate the total cost for that. And you see that the cost, sorry, and you see that the current total cost is lower than the offered total cost, which means we probably shouldn't accept the offer. Any questions? Well, we still have an hour. I suggest that we can take a break, and if we have any questions, we can come back and resolve all of the questions in the next hour. Is that okay? Yep. We'll come back at 15, and then discuss all of your questions, doubts, and problems. Yep. See you in 10. Are there any questions? If there are no questions, then we can end the session now. Yep, I'll post the Python script as well, and also the Excel sheet and the PDF. I'll post everything.
I actually have a question because we have the exam tomorrow, but the ample license have expired, especially on my PC.
Sorry, the
The ample license has expired. Yeah. Do you know when we get the new ample?
I'm not sure, but Atlas said that we're gonna start using Ample and stuff starting from next week.
Okay.
So I think it'll be online. But I'll ask him about that. He said that the exercises of next week will be composed by some of the similar questions that we are doing this week, and also the we're gonna start moving on to start using Ample and do the production planning, like stock inventory planning next week. So that is why he said that these exercises are just for us to be familiar with the notations and stuff.
Yeah.
So
So
it's
so next week we're gonna start using ample, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Nice.
so it's if you get like a little bit, the values that you get are a little bit different, like 1.1 units off, then it's completely okay. The idea is that you go to the book and be familiar with all of the like B1, B2, P1, P2, the definitions of those. And you don't need to memorize the formula as well.
No.
Will the exam include any similar exercises like we did today?
Nope, that's
No.
what he said. There'll be nothing like this, like big calculations.
Mhm.
I can guarantee that he told me that yesterday.
Yeah.
But it is important that you like either you borrow it from the library or you download it on the internet, this book, and check the sessions whenever Atle is mentioning it in his PowerPoint. Like the chapter 6 and chapter 9 are like what is it? Is what you should read through. You don't need to do the exercises. Like you don't need to do all of the exercises here because Atle is providing the exercises that are relevant to us. But it's important that you read through those quotations.
Yeah. I took the book from school before it closed,
That's smart. Because I searched on the whole internet, but like every single website that I went to, they have the same PDF, but it's short. It's the abbreviated version because Just scroll down. It just ends in chapter 11. And so I don't have the I don't have the I don't have the appendix, the table. That's why I need to go to the internet and check the formula for the loss function and the approximation and inverse of loss function.
Mhm.
We can also discuss all of the materials. Like if you have any questions during the course or when you're reading the materials, we can discuss it here as well.
I'm just
There-
wondering one thing about the exam tomorrow. Do you think we have all the knowledge to the exam tomorrow, or do we have to wait like for other
Sorry?
lectures? Do you think we have to go through the lectures in order to finish the whole exam, or do you think based on our knowledge we can like finish the whole exam, or do you think or we have to wait for future lectures in order to finish the exam?
I'm not sure because it's a shame that I only start to like I only start to follow the course like starting from this week, last weekend. So I'm not sure. I just read that
The last year's exam was actually only optimization. Like,
Yeah.
so,
and that's why he said that this part will not be appearing in the final exam. And the course in this week will start be relevant to the final exam, which is the optimization part with ample planning stuff, not the calculation. Yeah. And I think these first, like, there are 3 lectures or 2 lectures before this TA, but the lectures before this TA session they serve the purpose of give you the stepping stone, the foundations of the stuff to move on later. But I haven't checked the final exam for the last year, so I'm not sure. But we'll for sure be talking about final exams in the later sessions because it's kind of like the same for last year. This TA session is serving the purpose of better preparing yourself to the final exam. Yeah, this TA session is not relevant.
I was like, what is this TA session? I'm just kidding.
If you guys are interested in getting the Ample license before Atle posts it, you can actually get it from gorobi.com and request educational license.
For free?
Sending an email.
Yeah,
Nice.
so there's a package in Python called Gorobi as well, so you can optimize there if you want.
Yes, you can use Python to optimize it.
can you send the link?
Sure.
How long did it take to get access?
It's quite fast. It's a bit difficult to browse the website and see where you can apply for the license. But after you do that, you get it pretty fast.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll send you a link.
Nice.
Benjamin, why are you in space?
Why? Sorry, why?
Benjamin is in space, you know.
I like to be in space, you know. gotta try these filters out, you know. I can't, you know, show
You're
time.
the, you know how you seen the movie like Guardians of Galaxy? You're like the big bald guy, you know, on the phone.
They're always invisible.
Oh my god. Are you still in Kongsvinger, Moose?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I think on Wednesday we will know if school is open or not. I think I'm not sure, but I hope it opens.
This Wednesday?
I think so. I heard it somewhere, but I'm not sure. It's not gonna be open, but I think the government's gonna say something, like a new press conference maybe.
wasn't the news conference this Saturday? I mean,
They have conferences every day. Almost.
yeah, but I think there was some new dates from the 3rd February to 10th, and that's next Wednesday. I'm sure.
Yeah. I really hope it opens actually.
Yeah, I'm getting crazy just sitting home here and
Yeah, I mean the procrastination level is very high at home.
yeah.
Yeah, I also hope it opens because I really need a blackboard for the TA sessions.
Yeah.
And it makes life so much more difficult if I don't have one.
You mean this pen you can write on the screen or in the background,
In the background, like
like a real teacher?
yeah, like a real teacher.
All right. I think you can buy some cheap whiteboards, some Plus Olsen. You can have,
I can just write.
yeah,
on
you
the
can
wall.
write on your
Yeah,
Just right on your wall, you know.
yeah, I know. That's
and
what I'm
don't take
saying.
it away, just for memories.
Before getting that, get the mic first.
Yeah, maybe the mic. I think the mic is better now than it.
Because I'm using the headset.
Okay, but in the start it was very noisy.
It was
Yeah.
like a Bitcoin, you know, mining machine behind him.
Yeah,
Right?
but I hope the next session I'll be like streaming from a classroom.
Are we
Not
going
sure.
through previous exams exercises next time?
I'm not sure. I'll just like I'll just be doing anything Apple is giving me
Okay.
or giving all of us the exercises. But I'm sure he will be covering like last year. Those questions that he gave us are relevant. Will be relevant to the final exam. But this TA session is not included. The exercise from this week is not included.
So in the last individual exam, we will not get anything from these types of, you know, order point and safety stock and nothing.
Nothing.
So what's the point?
I don't know. I should be managing it to disappear right now.
Okay.
But as I said, I'm not sure because I haven't checked the final exam. But what Opla said is that these notations will be important to.
I mean,
that
maybe it's because we get a deeper understanding. Because I mean,
yes,
it's very practical. These calculations. I mean, I think these calculations are very important in the real life because that's normal.
yeah. So the idea is that when you're looking at those exercises, you immediately know what it is talking about, and you know.
Actually, last year's individual exam, the big exercise Atle gave us last week, that was a 25%. That took everything from this actually. So I think it's relevant, by the way.
Yeah. But because the main problem is I haven't checked any previous exams, but I will do that.
You will see it if you check.
Yep, I'll check it and see if it's relevant.
And Emin has done it in the previous exam.
I did it. I did it in the Christmas. I'm kidding.
Oh,
Moose, you have inspired me. You know, mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Then I guess I see you guys next week in the next session.
well,
Thank you for today.
sorry,
Ah,
Thank you for today.
yeah, thank you for that.
you as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I was actually surprised with the question 6.3, you know that, because I was sitting with it for a long time, and then I was like, I gave up.
Wait, 6, you gave up?
I gave up on 6.3, yeah. Because remember, like the
This one?
ordinary EOQ formula, right? And then you took kind of like the V outside of the, I don't know.
Yeah. Were you here when I was talking about it?
Yeah, now I know. I have,
Yeah.
like I wrote it down. Now I know. Yeah.
The most simple way is just whenever you are not sure or not well, sorry, it's not whenever it is not given, you can just assume it.
Okay.
It is absolutely safe to do that. And so here you just assume V is 1
Yeah.
and everything is set. Or you do the transformation of the formula because because what we want is not actually the economic order quantity, it's economic order quantity multiplied by unit value, right? Because we want it in unit dollars, but Q is in unit. So we multiply it by that, and we see that the V go into the square root of V squared, and this V will disappear and V will appear here,
Yeah.
and dV is provided.
Yeah. You just multiply by V like on both sides of the equation, and then you just put the V up there. Yeah.
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 So it is a bit tricky.
Yeah, it was actually especially that one. Yeah. No, I understand that now.
Yep. Good. Well, if there are no other questions, then we can end the session.
I don't have any more questions, but I thank you for today, and
Yep. See you guys next week.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.